With our breaking news, I want to bring in now Nola Haynes, who's a political scientist, strategist, and foreign policy expert, joining us now at the very. Uh-oh, did we lose her? Did we lose her? Are you there, Nola Haynes? Maybe. Nola Haynes has like 14 different things open. She must be having connectivity. We're going to bring her in. There she is. Hello, Nola Haynes.
Hello, Don Lemon.
How are you?
I'm wet and I'm cold and I'm irritated.
Nola, it's good to see you again. Listen, you're a foreign policy expert. People, you heard what the president has been saying about Iran. He's been calling their bluff and then, tacoing or relenting. And then he's been posting on social media. It's been ramping up every time. And he goes, they're doing it. The thing that has people in Washington and others wondering if something is up, because he has changed his schedule for the weekend, unless it's a scheduling error. He has not notified the press as we are talking about this now. What is happening here? Is there a legitimate concern that we may have a very, very fiery, so to speak, Memorial Weekend upon us?
That's what it's shaping up to be. And I was listening to Daniel, your guest right before me. I completely agree with his assessment in terms of Trump's own words about the calm before the storm regarding Iran. In my assessment, so much of this, Don, is about optics. There are many serious and professional people likening Iran to Vietnam, if not a greater kind of disaster. Optically, strategically, there have been some military kind of tactical wins, but in terms of what this is looking like, in terms of Iran owning the narrative with their Lego trap music videos, all of this is about saving face, because very serious people, very professional people are saying this is a hot mess, boo.
That's a technical term. Listen, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, you've been doing it since you were 2, and now you're 27. So I just would like to know what's the intelligence community saying? What are foreign policy experts saying about this? Because we've heard from the people on the street, they think it's ridiculous, right? You just said that you believe that he's saving face. I don't think that our intelligence community and our foreign policy folks have ever experienced anything like this. We don't know what the off-ramp is, if there's one, if he's going to strike, if it's imminent, the schedule change, none of it. This is a crazy position for the American government and officials to be in, but for the American people.
Absolutely. And so it's been stressful since the beginning, because one of the things that the Trumpers did when they came back in was to kneecap the national security community, to completely dismantle the foreign policy apparatus, push out experts, anyone that can challenge Trump in any sort of way. And I need people to understand, like, I know that there are a lot of these roles people don't think about, they never heard of, probably until, all of the drama in the media. But the office of the Director of National Intelligence, this is the kind of center of all 18 intelligence communities. This is the nerve center to bring all of that information together. So Tulsi Gabbard's role was not a small one. It's one of the roles that people don't think about, that they don't hear about. But, I remember in the Biden administration, when Avril Haines had that role, it was a very different situation. So, I'm praying for Tulsi Gabbard's husband, and I'm not saying that to be flippant, but as Daniel highlighted, as you highlighted, Tulsi Gabbard went outside and said Iran's program was decimated, because that's what Trump said last year. And since then, we haven't heard from her, really. We haven't seen her. And now here we are at the point of resignation, which I'm not shocked about, because I said the women going to go first, and then the brown guy with the big bubble eyes, he going to be next. So it's going to be the women and then the brown people, the two that exist.
Listen, we know, I think Tulsi Gabbard, if you look at her history, not that she's consistent at all, but if you look at her history, she is very much, she's not a war hawk.
Mm-hmm.
She's very conservative, shall we say, as it relates to Israel, and had basically the same belief about Israel as Keith Fox, who was her second in command. I guess he was over terrorism, counterterrorism. And he said that this was Israel who got us into this war. This should never have happened, and that Israel was dictating our foreign policy. Tulsi Gabbard and him were in lockstep. Do you think that had anything to do with this?
Of course it did. Anyone who's in this world, I mean, this isn't the first time that Netanyahu has run this plan by someone, and I want to say something very specific. So this has been a very busy week in the foreign policy community. So there was the Foreign Policy for America Summit that happened on Monday, and then the Council on Foreign Relations had an event to roll out their kind of new strategy. And what's interesting about that is there was a Republican senator on the panel. And this is going to be the narrative and a talking point going forward, Don. They are trying to position Donald Trump as if he has picked up the mantle from regarding wars that former presidents just kick the can up or down the road, however you want to say that metaphor. So basically they're trying to say, no, actually Trump is coming in to save the day and to actually deal with these wars finally. So they're trying to make Iran sound like it had to get done, that Trump had to go in and do this because the other presidents left a mess behind. And they're going to try and use that talking point with Venezuela, Cuba, and insert country. That's going to be the narrative going forward.
Which we know is not true.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I guess do we just sit here and wait? What do we do?
Well, I mean,
and what should and what does you say, what's the signal? What should we be looking for? You know what I'm saying?
What, the signal to leave the United States, or what signal we looking for? Like to pack our bags? Like what you talking about? Like,
I mean, look, hey, look, it's not. It was Joe Kent. What did I say? I said Keith Fox. Sorry, wrong. Thank you, Andy. Joe Kent. I said Keith Fox.
Yeah.
Pardon me. That is a correction right there. Yeah, we want to know that. When should we be packing our bags? But seriously, this affects, we have the gas prices right now and the instability. If we go into a war, that's going to affect the stock market. That's going to affect prices. That's going to affect gas even more. Who knows if we go into some sort of ground thing or he starts striking, when we'll ever get the Strait of Hormuz back open? So this has global implications.
It definitely does have global implications, and people are looking at us crazy, y'all. Like, I need people to really understand. The rest of the world is like, what y'all doing? You're trying to get us involved in stuff that we don't want to be involved in. Other countries are suffering from this. There was a story that came out, I think just last night, I was watching late last night, about Kenya, about the real effects with the Strait of Hormuz, all the drama and shenanigans that's happening there. This is having real world implications across the world. And this is one of those moments where foreign policy and national security collide. And I hate that this is one of those moments where I'm like, this is why it matters, folks. This is why you should care about these things. But no, Don, this is a FUBAR, maybe even beyond a FUBAR. And Trump knows it. He will never admit it. The people around him know it. They are too afraid to admit it. And because of the stronghold that Trump has over the 4-5 people that's around him, because clearly there aren't professionals around him. There are yes men and women around him and no adults in the room. Honestly, Don, I don't know what we're going to wake up to on Monday morning. I mean, because we haven't even talked about Cuba.
Well, real quick, I wasn't going to talk about it here. It was not on my rundown, but it's on your rundown, and it's important enough for you to bring it up. What's up?
I mean, we need to keep an eye on Cuba. I asked someone in the community the other day on my podcast, Nola Haynes is not a spy, if we were heading into another Cuban Missile Crisis situation. And my colleague said, not quite, but. So the but part is a little worrying, right? Because when we're talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis, again, there were adults in the room. But in a situation like this, where it's just Trump and a few folks, I don't know what we're going to wake up to on Monday morning. But Cuba definitely should be on everybody's watch list, because there are things going on in Iran and the Middle East, absolutely, yes, but there are also things going on in our own region, and we can't keep our eye off the ball when we're thinking about the Western Hemisphere.
Nola Haynes, political scientist, strategist, and foreign policy expert. Thank you for helping us out with this breaking news, and I embarrassed myself and knocked myself off the air at the beginning of the show. I hope you didn't witness that. But thank you. Have a great Memorial Weekend. Happy Memorial Weekend.
Happy Memorial Weekend, Dad. Bye.
And happy Memorial.